Yeah, I really shouldn't have teased you with the whole Silent Hill collection thing at the end of the last review, because I know full well that I'm not going to touch Silent Hill for a while. Let's talk about a game that any choice that you make impacts the overall narrative. Well, it says it does that. Let's find out more. Hello everyone and welcome to Rejected, where we reject or rejoice in all things everything. And I think, being the 6th day of the 7 deadly rejects leading out of Halloween, I think it's time we start getting into the winter of things. Ah yes, Until Dawn. I remember when they announced you and everyone's reaction was just, that's a lot like Heavy Rain, isn't it? And the answer to that question? Yeah, it kinda is. Well, the story is new, but the concept was the same. The whole butterfly effect idea was recently brought back in the video game Heavy Rain. But it wasn't that popular to have been used in video games. No, the last time I can actually remember it being used in a video game was the Broken Sword series. The concept is great. You take one straight narrative and set different clues. You find some of the clues, and you don't find some of the clues. What you find and what you don't find impacts your journey. It might change some things, it might give you an idea of what happened before, what happened after, but everything changes depending on what you find throughout the video game, which is a great idea. They've even got a film called The Butterfly Effect. We'll talk about that another day. But for now, let's cover the story. Today marks the 1-year anniversary of Hannah and Beth's disappearance. You have all been invited back to the lodge by Josh, their brother. And what a difference a year makes. But as you begin to settle down, mysterious problems start to arise, and you all begin to question if you're truly alone on the mountain. And all you can do is wait. Until dawn. Get it? Now I believe that when it comes to horror games, we haven't been the most fortunate recently. Ever since Silent Hill and Resident Evil, the bar's been pretty high. And I don't think anything's really come close to it. But does Until Dawn come close? Let's find out! The first thing you notice is that this game is following a cinematic approach. Now whereas you get some great visuals, it's countered with a lot of walking. Very slowly walking. Now obviously you do want to set the scene and start spooking your players, but if they're just bombarded with constant walking to this, turning that on, doing this, it doesn't hook you in the game. Sure, some of the choices as the game progresses get more and more interesting. But if your one objective is basically just to turn a light on or to open a gate, you're not really going to be paying much attention when stuff starts happening and you're actually meant to keep an eye on things. When you finish the beginning introductions and finally get into solving the mystery, you're no longer interested, and it takes you away from jumping out of your seats. Instead, you can brace yourself and go, something's going to happen now. And how many times do they want to shove down our throat? Yes, you are using the butterfly effect, but your character's talking about butterfly effect. Or this whole changing because of what you did and led to this happening if you did something different. We get it. This main guy is trying to punish these lot because of what they did. If they hadn't done what they did, his sisters would have still been alive. When that bit of the story's finished, it doesn't matter anymore. It's more about what's happened now. You do play, however, as multiple characters. But one thing that did bug me is that when one person finds one thing, it affects everyone else. It's as if they're all mentally linked in some case. Like, at one point, one person will find something, and then further in the video game, the other person will remember something that someone else remembered, or found, or lost. Why would them doing something affect you when you have no idea what they've done? Now this is cool. At the start of the game, you are introduced to Dr. Hill, who asks you several questions about your fears and what you get anxious about. Now the idea with the Dr. Hill character is when you start answering his questions, what you answer changes the way the game plays. You're afraid of spiders? Here's some spiders. You're afraid of zombies? Here's some zombies. You're afraid of gore? Here's gore. Are you afraid of a knife or a gun? You're afraid of a knife? Well then here's a guy with a knife. The only problem is, nothing changes. I've played this game several times, and each time I choose different fears. And all that seems to change is his office. Not the jump scares, nor the surrounding or main narrative. Just his office, which is a wasted concept. If you're going to go with the approach of, we're going to change the game as you get scared so we can react to what scares you, do it. Because if you don't do it, what's the point? So what does this game have to offer? In the game you control several characters: Samantha, Mike, Jessica, Ashley, Chris, Emily and Matt. You do have other characters like Hannah and Beth in the prologue, you got Josh, Dr. Hill, and of course, Flamethrower Guy. There are only a handful of times that a choice made by one person affects someone else drastically. But if you slip up, even just a little bit, the game does not hold back on punishing you. And as shit continues to go wrong, and you start to unravel an unnerving mystery. You will not regret searching in every dark corner, especially when it comes to the ending. So bearing that in mind, let's just jump straight to the ending. And this is where one choice you make earlier affects the outcome of one character, Josh. As it turns out, the cliffs are cursed with wendigos, creatures of nightmarish proportion, who were once people who unfortunately turned to cannibalism to survive. And while playing as Mike, taking Josh through the mines, this happens.
You're not real!
Now here is where a simple clue found way earlier in the game can change his outcome. It can either lead Josh to do this, or he'll do this.
Hannah!
Wow. But now the ending. Let's hope you save everyone and are about to escape the Wendigo's clutches. Until they are all around you, and you must remain still. Do that, and everyone lives. Meaning that in the credits, you hear them discussing what happened, followed by an end credit scene. Well, that is as long as you found the clue that affects Josh's story. But let's see what happens if you kill everyone. Boy. When you play Until Dawn once, you genuinely really enjoy it. It has a challenging story and a concept that affects everything you do. Why wouldn't you want to finish it? However, I played it several times, which is when the cracks begin to show, and you realise the choices you made, in the long run, do nothing. The story, it is a great idea, and something that a lot of people have been inspired by, but strip it back, and you see that the idea was overcomplicated just a little bit, but worth a 2.5. For execution, however, brilliant visuals, a great cast of characters, and, depending on how well you do, a great way to spend your evening. Or a giant waste of time. It's all about your choice. And for that, does what it says on the label. Gets a 2.5. So Until Dawn gets 5 out of 10. A perfect split. So it gets to go back on my shelf. See, it is an interesting game, but it will fall through the cracks and just become something in the background behind Silent Hill and Resident Evil. But I think we genuinely need to finish 7 Deadly Rejects on something good. There has to be something. Something. What do you think of this game? Leave a comment down below or check out my social media. All the links are in the description. And if you enjoyed the review, hit that like button, I'd highly appreciate it. And as always, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and notification bell to never miss a review. Thanks for watching.